given Solitha's own experience with being denied access for one reason or another, and the impact that that's had on her life, she's always seek to make others feel welcome, a part of, worthy of taking space, no matter what that setting was, no matter what. And doing that in the fashion industry just seems to me like natural. It's what she does, making everyone feel like you belong here.
I don't know where or when it was decided that certain bodies, certain skin tones weren't deemed beautiful. I'm sure it comes back from, othering people. But I think as marketers and as advertisers, we got into this space where the idea that beauty could only be one tone, not the skin tone, but just it's one tone in representation, where you had to be a size 0, you had to have particular features and have these attributes that somebody somewhere decided this is what beauty is and everything else isn't. We're still trying to battle and come back from that.
5-year-old me was seeing a lot of people who didn't look like me. And at 5 years old, you don't realize that, like, you're being excluded. You just think the people who are on TV are these people, and so you need to look like this to be on TV. You know what I mean? That's like what 5-year-old brains do. And so, like, you grow up and you internalize that, and you just, like, don't even pursue something because you just assume that, like, that's just not for you and that's not where you belong. And so I think it's important to challenge that.
It's put on the general public where we embrace what we were told by marketers and through the eyes of an ad, that beauty is one tone, and that particular box, if you didn't fit into it, you're not deemed beautiful, or you don't belong in the spaces that celebrate beauty. And for me, coming into the industry, and even before that, I always knew that I was special because I had that love at home. My mom loved me, my siblings, and it's just when you went outside and everybody else was so constrained to the stereotypical version of beauty that I didn't feel beautiful.
Part of it is so deep-rooted in, like, just could dive all the way down in history and, like, just think about, like, what we have defined as, like, acceptable and beautiful and better than.
I know we're talking a lot about beauty and its surface, but it goes way deeper than the surface, because then what I see in the magazines, what I see, celebrated as belonging or something that other people are going to sort of value, it goes deeper than that, because now I'm thinking I'm not good enough and something's wrong with me, and that I was a mistake in a sense. And I felt that for a long time, that my skin wasn't right, the way I looked wasn't right, my hair and all of those pieces that play into it started messing with my mental, and that goes internal. So it's not just a surface thing, and beauty isn't just, some frivolous thing that we talk about. Beauty is the beginning of every other breakdown or every other buildup that you're gonna have in your life.
The fashion industry, I think it's been almost infamous for exclusion, to be honest with you. For up until very recently, when you think model, when you think fashion, when you think runway, like, you think of, like, a skinny, white, blonde, tall model. And I think when you look at all of the models with Soli, like, it's not just that. Clothes and jewelry and the way we adorn ourselves is really important for everyone. It's important that everyone sees themselves reflected in that, and everyone feels like they're invited and they're welcome, and, like, fashion is for everyone. And so representation plays a huge role in addressing that. In the industry now, we see a lot more, like, people of color and people of different, like, bodies and backgrounds and ethnicities and everything, but I think we still have a long way to go.
I do have a stereotype for model. The model has to be skinny, not just slim, not just thin, has to be skinny, which I am not. The model has to have a very narrow face. But look at me, look at mine, how round it is. So at the first time, I'm just a little bit confused or just lack of confidence. Can I? Should I? Am I? But the answer for now, definitely, yes, I am, I can, I should, I could.
There's sheer talent in all different walks of life, you know what I mean? So it's about talent and not just about like fulfilling a look that, you know, designers have classically gravitated toward. We just constantly challenging those ideas.
It takes one person to shift the game, and that's what I hope we do, and it sparks other people wanting to do it authentically, not because it's the trend, but they want to do this and keep it going so that we don't have to talk about it anymore. I'm fearful that a lot of the people that are preaching inclusion and diversity are doing it for the trend. And if that's the case, then it's gonna stop and go back to what it was. For me, it has to come from an authentic place where you want the change. And oftentimes, the ones who want it and are doing the things that are necessary to impact change have lived in spaces where they've been othered or isolated from those said spaces. So it's coming genuinely, and they're gonna do it even if the checks don't come in, even if it's not going there where it's getting tough, they're gonna keep doing it because I don't want anybody to feel the way that I felt in those moments. My goal is just to keep doing it regardless of the payout, regardless of the cameras or anything else around me. I'm doing it because Solitha Natasha Short wants to do it and needs to do it so that I fulfill what purpose I believe I'm here for. I started coaching because people are asking, oh, can I bring my daughter? I hear that you're doing this. And I'm thinking, well, this wasn't something I was thinking of, but this is something I definitely can do. And this is when I started thinking, this can be another career path for me, the coaching aspects.
It's certainly a unique side of her when she's coaching. I think it's when she's the most confident. When she coaches, there's no sense of hesitation. The way they respond to her, the way she seems to know exactly what to say to them, it's probably one of her greatest strengths. The ability to help talent to tap into themselves.
For me, coaching is about using the things that my talent are familiar and they're good at. And I often find myself asking them to just close their eyes and take themselves to a space where they're comfortable and forget everything else around you, block that out and go to that space.
I've seen coaching where she's talking about presenting yourself. Her ability to translate that in a way where the talent gets it and is able to reciprocate it in their movement, in whatever, is really second to none that I've seen.
I fell in love with it then. Just seeing the talent light up once they got it and seeing them come in first with their shoulders bent and that lack of confidence, and at the end of our sessions, they would walk up a little taller. To see them finally find their strut gives me life. That kind of life that I got, similar to walking the runway myself.
It is something special to watch. Getting to see where the magic starts.
Mitch, who is one of the OG people that we started with in the company and holds a special part in the Solitha family, but also for me personally. He wanted the same things I wanted and was looking to capture beautiful people and, you know, explore this world of photography, and it wasn't based on skin tone or the exclusion of skin tone. And from there on, this beautiful partnership emerged. My models felt beautiful. They felt safe in his presence, and for them to see themselves captured in that way without being made to feel like you don't belong, that sort of pushed me to create this space where they can all exist. The moment we started talking, it just felt natural.
Within 30 seconds of chatting with her, I realized that she was not just stunning, but she was an amazing human being that was going to change my life, that was going to give me an opportunity to learn new things and to be exposed to amazing people that were going to really, number one, influence my creativity, but also make me a better person.
I love working with Mitch. I keep booking shoots with him because I feel so comfortable with him. When I first worked with Mitch, he helped me a lot in front of the camera because there were a lot of times where I was like second guessing myself or questioning, does this look all right? Or he'd make a suggestion as to like how to move my body, and I'd say like this. He's like, just be confident and do it without second guessing. And so this is something that I'm learning to do. It's like just trusting that what he says is gonna work out. Love working with Mitch.
A lot of the times, you'd want to show the model, the image, to make them feel comfortable, to let them know that they're doing an amazing job. But also that reaction, that, wow, I look great. This doesn't look like a cell phone image. This looks like a professional image. And then from there, they turn into that model that's, oh, I'm used to, or I've been taking a lot of selfies and I look good in this light, to, wow, this looks like something that could be on a billboard. This looks like something that could be in a magazine. This looks like something that a designer might want to use to market their product. And that then transformed that immediate interaction into a bang, an international feeling where you're on a runway in Milan and there's millions of dollars of equipment around you and you have the best outfit on and you look great and everybody's cheering you on and everybody thinks you're the most fantastic thing in the world. And I think that's something that I really enjoy, and I find that showing people that they look great and showing them that what we're doing is a little bit different than the average photo kind of gets us motivated.
His lens, see the talent. He's able to create magic with them regardless of what they look like, and perfecting lighting so that the skin tones can be shown in their best light. Coming into my world and us creating a community together is so important that, I don't know where Soli would be if we didn't have support from people within the industry.
The people that I work with are so dedicated. They have such a grounding into what they want to accomplish, and what they believe is what I believe. And this is not just simply, let's get an image that's going to show up on a billboard. Let's get an image that's going to show up in a magazine. Let's make change. Let's make things change. Let's bring in people that might not have thought about getting an image on a billboard. Let's get them in. Let's get them telling their story. Let's get them showing what someone who might not be the norm, someone who might not be what we imagine as someone who historically has been in the fashion industry. Let's get them to show who they are. Let's get them to influence what people see. I think what's happening is the doors are opening for change in the industry, so that the new energy, and that new energy is that person who just has a story to tell, regardless of what they look like, regardless of how tall they are, regardless of their skin tone, regardless of their orientation, regardless of their nationality. I think that the doors it's obvious that they're opening, and I think that people like Solitha have been paramount in making that happen. And I think that Solitha's probably realized that there's been an appetite for that for a long time. I'm so excited to see that she's empowered to really get out there and draw a line and pull people across that line and say, hey, you know what? Something new is happening. Come with me. And I think she's amazing at making that happen. And she's very clear what her expectations are in making that happen. I don't think she's the average person. I think that she's the ultimate creative. She's the ultimate leader, and she's the ultimate catalyst for change.
I literally just looked at the colors and the eye shape, and I kind of just chose what suits best with what she's wearing almost, and what she doesn't have so far for her catalog. So something very avant-garde, striking on her eyes, and something a little bit more neutral almost for her lips. Honestly, the coolest part of my job is I enjoy seeing the self-esteem build from someone seeing themselves. It's really interesting because someone else can do their own makeup, and then when they look at themselves, you know, they see it as putting makeup on themselves. But when I do it, they almost see themselves in a different image.
When it comes to makeup and hair, especially for me as a Black model, for me it was challenging finding makeup that matched my skin tone or having help from people who actually knew what I should be wearing. And even then sitting in chairs at fashion shows or on sets and not having that feeling that I belonged there because the artist didn't have anything that matched my color or my skin tone. So my mission with Solitha Production wasn't just to fill the roster with diversity that represented full inclusion. It was also to make noise in the makeup industry and the hair industry that if you're putting stylists out here or makeup artists out into the market, they should be prepared to work on any beautiful canvas that sits in their chairs.
Everybody should get a chance. And I think that's what Solitha is doing. She is changing the dynamics of the fashion industry. She hires models with different backgrounds, different heights, different sizes from all over the world. And that's really refreshing to see. Nobody else does that. And also with her production as well, her makeup artists are diverse. The hairstylists are very diverse. So it's people of all kinds.
I want to bring on some other artists so that they are able to do the same thing I can do, and the models can feel comfortable with having someone else do their makeup and not feel worried about how they're gonna look and not have to look in the mirror and have to, you know, take their makeup bag in the bathroom and touch up their makeup. We need to have more makeup artists able to do people of color so that we don't have those experiences anymore. As a Black makeup artist in Halifax, it's really hard. I've experienced, you know, at makeup counters I've worked at, people not wanting me to help them with their colors or not think that I'd be capable of perhaps doing their makeup in general. With the industry being so saturated with this particular type of makeup artist, I didn't see where I fit.
Not seeing enough South Asian representation was something that made me kind of question the industry as a whole and figure out why wasn't I seeing enough representation. And it's mainly because they sort of have this, you know, one lane to follow and they just keep it at that. But the main thing about Solitha Productions is that it challenges the status quo.
I think what she's doing is really important, helping us to unlearn some of the things, the narratives that society has told us about this industry. That you have to be a certain height, you have to be a certain weight, like your skin tone has to be a certain shade in order to be successful. Like, yes, there are many people who have gone ahead and are, you know, trying to pave that way forward, but Solitha she's doing it in a way that is really drawing attention. to the fact that, you know, representation matters. I'd gone through like this journey with my hair and like talking a lot about, you know, some of the insecurities that I've had with my own natural hair. And I just hope for all young girls that their confidence and self-worth is not built on something that is superficial.
The fashion industry is changing so much nowadays because there's more diversity. I feel like before it wasn't very diverse, and a lot of people of color weren't really getting the chances that they needed to work in the fashion industry. Also, you know, folks with different body types. So I feel like before it was a certain body type, body height that you needed in order to be in a fashion industry. I feel like all of that is changing now. You could be any size, any height, any color, and be able to work in this industry. And I think that's really important.
I think it's just changing the standards of what we see of our everyday lives and incorporating everyday women and men. It's really important to be inclusive, to see not only women and men, but, you know, non-binary, trans, all of these people included into this community. Because everyone wants to see themselves in somebody. A lot of us can say that without having this community, we probably wouldn't see ourselves in these positions. In the fashion industry, it's hard to, you know, really build yourself up and find gigs and find the courage to keep going.
We naturally will go with people that are visually like us. But if we find ways, like whether that's modeling or art or music, in which people can come together, you'll see how diversity naturally happens.
The Solitha community is very unique. I don't think I've seen a community that is built on love of others' craft, love of others' commitments, or love of others' strengths and achievements. This community makes you want to do better. They push you. Solitha's community is inspiring. It gives you a really close inside look of how it is to be in the industry, of being supportive and being supported.
The big message for me, it's really simple. Bring people together on things that they connect with, on things that they're passionate about, on things where they see that they could be good at, where things that make them feel good about themselves. And when we do that, real change will happen in regards to the social issues that we're being plagued with. Find what people love doing. Help them to do that well and better. And work on that. The rest of it will take care of itself. I've seen it happen.